Look, former US National Security Advisor John Bolton has appeared on Stephen Colbert's The Late Show this week, and if he thought he was going to get off easy, boy, was he incorrect. He started out by asking John Bolton about the criticism he received for withholding information about President Donald Trump for his book, rather than speaking up during Trump's impeachment proceedings. And the grilling just heated up from there. Take a look.
He's a person willing to sell out the interests of the American people for his own re-election. What could be worse in Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden's philosophy than betraying your country to a hostile foreign leader?
What I thought in 2016 was we at least have to try it out. And so I voted for Trump. Having experienced 17 months of working with him, I can't in good conscience do that again. And that's why I'm not going to vote for him, and I'm not going to vote for Biden.
I guess what's exasperating is there is absolutely nothing that Donald Trump has done that is surprising to me. How did you not know beforehand that he was just callow?
Because I couldn't believe it was that bad. And I know other people say they saw it from the beginning.
But you're an international negotiator. How could you be naive? You've dealt with the worst people in the world.
You've really insulted me now by calling me naive.
You know what I love? These people think they're going to get an easy go by going on comedy programs, and it really backfires on them, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah, I loved this interview, and I thought Colbert, he's brilliant anyway, but I thought this was just a perfect, they should show it at university, a way to take someone to task with sort of dignity and intelligence. And also, I think even, he said it was a tough interview afterwards, Bolton, but he actually thought it was a fair and enjoyed the interview. But, you know, what's that saying, Susie? You're good with sayings. My memory's terrible. Fool me once, fool me twice.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
And fool me 3 times, shame on us both.
Yeah.
But
for
Susie,
him to sit there, this is a man. Yeah.
Why can't actual reporters ask these questions? It always comes down to the most revealing interviews happen when it's outside the political bubble, when it's with someone like Stephen Colbert, who isn't trying to get part of the press pack. Do we face a problem where journos, and the only one I can think of that breaks this at the moment on Australian TV is David Spears, who will ask some tough questions. But I feel our politicians just get an easy run because the journos are always worried about getting their next drop. And Peter Van Oslen, on 10 News is not afraid to fight the good fight.
Well, I think there's quite a few of them. When you watch them, particularly on the ABC, they're not frightened to ask the tough questions as well. And in the case of John Bolton, I think he did a fabulous job in that interview. Yes, Stephen was hard, but he was fair. And you've got to remember that John Bolton, you know, he was actually an intern with Spiro Agnew back in the 60s. He actually worked with Reagan, with George Bush Sr. and George W. So he probably thought, we couldn't get anyone worse than that. and he really did, I think, try and give Trump the benefit of the doubt. After that interview, I actually can't wait to read his book, because apparently, even though he didn't reveal some things in the book, he really did drop some big bombshells. And the sad thing is, I still think Trump's going to get elected in November.
Oh, yeah, I think you could be right.
Susie,
the opinion polls are interesting, but sorry, Joe, go on.
Sorry, no, I was going to say, Susie, you say that, but he's a man that's supposed to be incredibly intelligent. We trust him in a high position. Well, the Americans trusted him in a high position within the government. Now,
or John Bolton?
No, I'm talking about Bolton. And, you know, naive at best, he really has blood on his hands. This man's an idiot, and he's running, you know, the world, really. And I don't think it's good enough to say I had trust and I wanted to give him another chance. We all knew what he was. The average punter could see what he was from a mile away. I don't think it's fair to sit there and say, give him a second chance. I mean, we knew what he was.
He didn't say give him a second chance. What he said is that he was an optimist. Everyone had told him some of the stories, but he really had to see for himself. And
I don't trust this guy, Susie. This guy did not, and threatened to sue the Parliament in the States if he was called in the impeachment hearings. Now, what was he holding it for? For a book? So he was putting the greater good behind 100%. His personal gain. You know, like, that's a dead shit of a man, if you... Sorry, I couldn't think of any other term. That's appalling.
I'm with you, Rob.
That's absolutely
I
appalling to
agree.
put your own financial gain ahead of what's best for the country. He should have been part of those impeachment hearings. If he's got the things to say that he's put in his book, that should have been on the record as part of the impeachment. Trump still would have got off. He had the majority in the Senate. He was always going to get off, but at least it would be on the public record.
Well, I think that part of that isn't even in the book, but I think there are more revealing things in the book that I think people will appreciate him for. You know, at the end of the day, he was the National Security Advisor. He was not the vice president, he was not the president. And you've got to remember that he has been a Republican his entire life, right? So it's very, very hard to shift that feel in someone. Doesn't matter what position you hold, you still have to play politics. And if you look at Canberra, there's people playing politics all the time. There's lots of things that should come out that happen in our federal government.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo.